This expectant mother was shocked to discover that her clothes were suddenly stained with blood. She rushed to the hospital for an emergency checkup, but the doctor's reaction was strangely unsettling. They even quietly summoned the head of the department. It wasn't until she heard the baby was healthy that her frayed nerve finally began to ease, just a little, but before she could even catch her breath, only to be told a malignant tumor was growing inside her, and it had already begun to spread aggressively. This meant she only had a few precious months left to live. Though this cruel reality had torn her very soul into pieces, she relied on her incredible strength and willpower to hold on until the very day her daughter was born. This is perhaps the most desperate and most beautiful sacrifice a mother can make. In the final moments of her life, the film 18% breaks away from the usual sentimental cliches of motherhood. Through the magic of time travel, it explores the deep misunderstandings and the eventual healing between a mother and her daughter with such profound grace. After watching, you'll truly understand that a mother's love isn't found in grand, sweeping vows, but in the quiet, steady protection of our ordinary days. It's the unwavering choice to love you, even at life's end. The tenderness that teaches us to be independent, yet never stops caring. Now, please join Film Focus and kindly help us reach 1,000 subscribers as we witness a mother's love that transcends time and space, a love that has never, ever been absent. To ensure her daughter, Anna, would never feel unloved, Elisa prepared 18 birthday gifts in advance. She wanted to be there for her daughter, watching her grow in her own way. But behind this gentle, lingering protection was the ultimate price Elisa paid with her own life. At the very moment Anna came into this world, Elisa's own journey was reaching its end. Yet, Elisa could never have imagined this attempt at making amends in the name of love unexpectedly became a cage that trapped Anna for 18 long years. At first, as a little girl, Anna didn't understand a thing. She truly believed those gifts were her mother's way of staying by her side. But as the years went by, her mother's absence only made her more fragile and sensitive. Her loneliness eventually turned into a bitter rebellion. Every time she unwrapped a gift on her birthday, the gifts were no longer a beautiful surprise. Instead, it felt like a slow, psychological torment. The gentle lie that her mother was just away on a long trip was bound to be shattered one day. Left with no other choice, her father, Alessio, finally had to tell her the painful truth. Yet, when Anna read the words on her mother's tombstone and realized her own birthday was the very day Elisa died, she became convinced that her birth was what took her mother away. She saw herself as a jinx, someone who didn't deserve to be loved at all. From that moment on, Anna's rebellion only grew more intense. Resenting the piano her mother had left as a gift, she used violence to vent her anger toward that fake companionship. Then, on the day of her 18th birthday, she recklessly egged on her teammate to leap from a 10-meter platform, seeing his daughter spiraling into self-destruction. Alessio's years of suppressed emotions finally reached a breaking point, but every word that came out of Anna's mouth was filled with nothing but resentment for Elisa's passing. She hated that she lost her mother the moment she took her first breath. She hated how everyone pretended their lives were whole and perfect. For Anna, she was long past done with these birthdays orchestrated by her mother, done with the painful goodbyes hidden behind every single gift. So, she fled from the home that was suffocating her. But was it really just a birthday she was trying so hard to escape? Fate, however, has a cruel sense of irony. Just as she was running across the road, she was struck by a speeding black sedan. But the strange thing was, the driver had clearly been a man. But when she finally woke up, yet a woman was the one stepping out of the car. Even the car itself had somehow turned red, since Anna wasn't seriously injured, and seeing that she had nowhere to go, in such a dazed and confused state, the woman decided to take her home first to tend to her scrape. But the further the car drove, the more familiar the streets outside the window became. Finally, it pulled up right in front of her very own home. The furnishings inside the house were almost exactly as Anna remembered them from her childhood. Just as she was lost in a cloud of confusion, her eyes accidentally caught a glimpse of the calendar on the wall. It was May of the year 2001. There were still 3.5 months left before she was even born. She had actually traveled back to the time when her mother was still alive. After checking again and again, she finally dared to believe that the gentle, beautiful woman before her, this woman, with her growing baby bump, was the mother she had longed for and resented for 18 long years. The mother she had never once met face to face. For a moment, she thought this was all just a figment of her imagination. But a sharp, piercing pain instantly pulled her back to reality. What confused Elisa and her husband, Alessio, even more, was how Anna seemed to know the layout of their home like the back of her hand. She instinctively said she needed to use the upstairs bathroom. How could a complete stranger possibly know all of this? Only when she felt her own burning cheek did Anna finally realize that this wasn't a dream. She had truly returned to those precious days when her mother was still here. In that heartbeat, all of her toughness, her rebellion and her cold indifference melted away instantly in the face of this overwhelming reality. In the end, the things we truly yearn for are never the expensive gift or the grand, elaborate ceremony, but the unique, comforting scent of our mother, and the simple things she once touched and used, the warmth beneath her fingertips. It's the gentle, quiet love she poured out for you. For Anna, who grew up without a mother's love, she wasn't just holding a bathrobe, she was holding the embrace she'd yearned for 18 years. A mother's embrace she never truly had. To keep this beautiful moment from fading, she lied, saying her mother was hospitalized, and that she had nowhere else to go. Elisa's heart softened, and she let her stay the night in the living room. This gave Anna a chance to uncover her mother's secret. In the stillness of the night, she quietly opened the drawer where her mother had hidden things earlier, until she saw that medical report. Only then did she realize her mother had cancer, and that her time was running out. This truth completely washed away 18 years of guilt and anger, leaving nothing but heartache and regret. It seems we're all mostly like this. We only understand our parents' struggles once we've grown. We only realize it after they're gone. Then we desperately try to make up for the time we lost. To stay by her mother's side, Anna was willing to work as a nanny for free. Elisa agreed at first, but Elisa took her to the hospital instead to help find her sick mother. This distance Elisa kept was filled with the quiet helplessness of an adult. Even when someone approaches with kindness, there's an instinctive wall that goes up. But this rejection didn't stop Anna's longing to stay with her mother. She was shocked to discover that her mother hadn't told a soul, bearing the agony of cancer all by herself. To get her to open up her heart, Anna simply barged into the cancer support group meeting right in front of everyone. She lied, claiming her mother was in the ICU, and that her time was running out. As an expectant mother herself, Elisa truly couldn't find it in her heart to see Anna left all alone with no one to lean on, and so, she completely let down her guard. Knowing Anna wanted to find a job to support herself, Elisa took it upon herself to help her look for one, and this gentle acceptance only made Anna crave those moments even more, the precious time spent with her mother. She even used a sudden whim as an excuse, barging into the house in the middle of the night, just to ask Elisa to go buy some toast with her. When Elisa refused, she even sat in the car, honking the horn incessantly. Faced with such a stubborn, childish display, Elisa eventually gave in. As they grew closer, the initial distance between them began to fade, replaced by an inexplicable, deep bond. With Anna by her side, Elisa could, for a brief moment, forget all the agony and despair that cancer brought. Watching Anna, who fell fast asleep the moment her head hit the pillow, it was as if she were looking at her own daughter, 18 years into the future, and instinctively, with a mother's tender touch, she began to care for this headstrong yet thoughtful girl. But what Elisa didn't realize was that while Anna seemed fast asleep, she had actually been awake the whole time. Perhaps most of us are just like this in life, loving so deeply within our heart, yet never knowing how to say it, even when we long to be near, always hesitating, always testing the water, waiting for the other person to take that first step. Watching this, why not take a moment to give your mother a call? Bravely say those words hidden deep in your heart, I love you. Don't let regret hide in the silence. However, this harmony didn't last for very long. It was soon shattered by a sudden disagreement. When Elisa suggested preparing birthday gifts for her unborn daughter, she was met with Anna's immediate, fierce opposition. Stop it, don't say another word. And when Anna heard her mother's hopes for her, to become a woman just like her, someone with inner beauty, gentle and kind, strong and positive, she fiercely rejected the idea. In your own life, has your mother ever expected you to just be good, to play it safe, to marry well, and to put family first, until you end up living the way others want you to, only to lose your true self in the process? But Anna's argument with her mother wasn't because she hated those beautiful qualities. She was just fed up with having her life planned out for 18 years. She hated being forced into a mold. She didn't truly hate her mother, either. She was just afraid her mother wouldn't accept the real her. In the heat of the moment, Anna accidentally let the truth about the cancer slip out. This completely infuriated Elisa, but looking at Anna's flushed cheek, and the hurt and stubbornness in her eyes, a wave of regret washed over Elisa. She realized she shouldn't have hurt this seemingly rebellious girl, who actually cared for her so deeply. When her suppressed emotions became too much to bear, Elisa finally told Alessio the truth about her cancer. When they learned from the doctor that even if she gave up the baby, and underwent intensive treatment, it would only slow the cancer spread, and that it was ultimately incurable. Alessio completely broke down. Most of us long to control our own destiny, but when fate deals a crushing blow, and we find ourselves powerless to change it, a deep, aching sense of regret begins to stir. This lingering bitterness isn't a complaint, nor is it exactly resentment. It's a desperate resistance against leaving behind regret. Seeing Alessio lose himself in grief, Elisa's heart felt heavy with a bitter sorrow. She ached for him, and for the child in her womb, and felt the crushing despair of knowing her own time was running out. Looking at the vibrant, blooming flowers, and then reflecting on her own fragile state, her soul was filled with a poignant sadness. She began desperately tearing away the withered leaves and dead branches, as if she could somehow pluck the illness from her own body, and preserve the life she had left. But the more she struggled, the deeper the despair took root. Perhaps we all act this way when pushed to the edge. Always trying to do something, anything, even if it's all in vain, just to grasp at a single, flickering thread of hope. This struggle, though we know it's futile, is perhaps our most silent rebellion against fate, since the outcome was set in stone. She chose to follow the doctor's orders faithfully, fighting to prolong her life as much as possible, just to hold on until the moment her daughter was born. At the same time, the guilt she felt toward Anna drove Elisa to ask the nurse about Anna's sick mother in the hospital, but it turned out that no such person existed. She realized she had been deceived this whole time. So, when Anna appeared before her once more, the warmth and kindness in Elisa's eyes had vanished. She didn't want anything more to do with this girl whose heart seemed filled with lies. Yet, the more Elisa pulled away, the more Anna yearned to be near her. But she knew deep down, even if she confessed to being her future daughter, Elisa would never believe her. After all, the mother standing before her was still carrying her unborn self. How could she possibly accept such an absurd reality? To win her mother's trust, Anna lied again, claiming her father was in prison. Seeing that the sorrow in Anna's eyes was genuine and not an act, Elisa decided to hire her to help prepare those 18 birthday presents. Even though for 18 years, those gifts were the things she resented most, but to cherish these final moments with her mother, Anna couldn't say no. When Elisa went to pick out a piano, Anna immediately stepped in and shifted her mother's attention to the drum kit she loved so much. Have you ever resented your mother's love? Thought she was too nagging, too old-fashioned, or that she just didn't get you? Resented that her gifts weren't what you truly wanted? It's only one day that you finally realize what she gave you was already everything she had. But Elisa's choice to forego treatment and focus solely watching her prepare their daughter's birthday gift was still something her husband, Alessio, couldn't bear. Eventually, a bitter argument broke out between them. Anna had never seen her father so broken. In her mind, he was always the pillar of strength, facing every storm with unwavering calm. But at this moment, the father before her was like a lost child, utterly helpless and drowning in despair. And this time, Anna stepped forward. She told her father that since reality couldn't be changed, then they should simply accept it with grace. Because for Elisa, the thing she found hardest to leave behind, it wasn't just her unborn child and him. In the end, Alessio accepted everything with a calm heart. Watching the two of them embrace. If you enjoy this video, please subscribe to Film Focus to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Anna's eyes were filled with a gentle sense of peace, but just at that moment, the strange sound of a medical monitor instantly shattered this beautiful dream. Anna followed the sound, and the sight before her left her utterly breathless. She saw herself lying in a hospital bed, deep in a coma. She also saw her father there. At that moment, a wave of intense fear surged through her heart. She finally understood. It turned out that after the car accident, she had been in a coma the entire time. All those moments spent by her mother's side across time were nothing more than a dream within her unconscious mind. But she didn't want to wake up at all. She clung so desperately to this warm, too afraid to lose even a single moment of the time she had with her mother, even if it was all an illusion. How she wished time could stand still forever in this very moment. So, while your loved ones are still by your side, express your love as much as you can. Don't let regret become an eternal shadow. Elisa's health continued to decline. Looking at Anna, who seemed to understand her so deeply, a thought began to form in her mind, a bold, desperate idea. She wanted Anna to watch over her daughter in her place, but Anna refused her outright, because she knew that none of this was real. She would have to wake up eventually, and leave this place behind. Soon, the day arrived for Elisa to choose the gift for her daughter's 18th birthday, but Anna couldn't find it in her heart to be happy. Elisa began to reflect on everything that had happened, their striking resemblance, Anna's strange familiarity with this home, the way she cared for her so tenderly, and those inexplicable, soul-deep bonds. It finally dawned on her that the girl standing right before her eyes might truly be her daughter from the future, but her failing body was reaching its limit. Anna stood by, utterly powerless, consumed by a wave of endless despair and helplessness. When Elisa opened her eyes once more, Anna was nowhere to be found. It seemed it had all been nothing but a dream. A profound sense of loss instantly flooded her her heart. Yet, looking back on it, she felt a strange sense of peace, because in that dream, she had finally met her daughter at 18. She knew what her face looked like, and all the little things she loved, and for her that was enough. Soon, the moment for the baby to enter the world arrived, but Elisa knew in her heart that her own journey was nearing its end. So, before the anesthesia took hold, she desperately reached for a pen and paper. With trembling hands, she wrote down the 18th birthday gift for her daughter. At that very moment, Anna woke up and found her mother's letter. Only then did Anna truly understand that her mother's love had never left her side. Those gifts she had resented for 18 long years, each one carried her mother's deepest, most tender devotion. Even in something as simple as fried apple ring, lay her mother's most delicate, tender love. Life is never truly about reaching perfection or dwelling on regrets. To reconcile with the world is, ultimately, to make peace with yourself. Anna no longer needs to live in rebellion, no longer needs to run away, and no longer needs to punish herself, because now, she finally knows that living the life her mother dreamed for her is perhaps the greatest comfort she could ever give her. And with that, our story comes to an end. It turns out the greatest form of a mother's love is giving everything she has to make her child whole. Even if they were only meant to meet for a fleeting moment, she still wished to pour all her tenderness into your life. Though this encounter across time was brief, it healed every ounce of regret Anna had carried for 18 years. She finally understood that her mother's love had never truly been absent. Those gifts, prepared so many years in advance, were crafted with her mother's very life as the most soulful confession of love for her. Saying goodbye is never truly about losing someone. It's about holding them in your heart. Mama wasn't afraid of death. She was only afraid her daughter would forget her. And Anna wasn't afraid of being alone. She was only afraid that when Anna finally wanted to say I love you, her mother would already be gone. In truth, we spend our entire lives learning how to say goodbye. Goodbye to our childhood, goodbye to our youth, goodbye to the ones we love, and goodbye to the version of ourselves that felt unloved. Perhaps many of us never get the chance for a proper farewell, and so many words are left unspoken. But this movie completes that long overdue reconciliation for all of us. Life may be filled with far too many regrets, but love never truly disappears. It simply finds a new way to stay by our side. Mama may no longer be here, but her love, it's woven into your very breath, tucked away inside your courage, and in every choice you make to live your life beautifully. If you, too, hold a love that was never voiced, a goodbye left unfinished, or a heartache that has yet to find peace, please remember you are always, always loved. There will always be someone who is proud of you, watching over you from the heavens above. This is Film Focus, bringing you stories of cinema that touch the heart, with light and shadow as our companion, and Film Focus by your side. We look forward to our next encounter.